Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese cat here. I'm going to be a little bit ambitious. I want to talk about the crypto market. I'm going to talk about the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, as well as excluding Ethereum. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin itself. I'm going to talk about Ethereum. I'm going to try to go for as many altcoins as I can, as well as talk about Bitcoin dominance. Before I do all that, I just want to talk about the Ichimoku cloud. I'm going to majority spend time talking about the Ichimoku cloud. You can pull the Ichimoku cloud through indicators over here, and you just search Ichimoku, it's going to pop up. And if you look at these settings, generally all these are automatically checked for you. I generally turn off the lagging span because I don't really find that to be particularly helpful when it comes to analysis because it is really lagging. Some people use it, I generally don't. What ends up happening is you end up having a blue line over here, which is called the conversion line. I call that the Tenkan line a lot of times because that's the Japanese name for it. And you also have the baseline, which is the red line over here. This is a lagging line. Conversion line is a leading line. So when you have a cross, that tells you that if the leading crosses underneath the lagging, you have a bearish cross. If you have the leading crossing over the lagging, then you have a bullish cross, right? So where you have a bullish cross over here. You also have a couple other lines over here, which is the leading span A, leading span B, which basically are these lines that form the Ichimoku cloud, and they basically flank the cloud over here. When you have a red cloud, generally it serves as a better resistance than support. When you have a green cloud, generally serves as better support than resistance. So those are kind of the basic things I look at. Clouds and these, conversion baseline, Rikition, and Tenkan, these are all potential resistance and support lines, and they can also tell you a little bit more about the trends. The cloud itself is also a very, very strong support or resistance here as well. Both the top of the cloud and the bottom of the cloud can serve as a resistance or support. So that's basically the bottom line of looking at the Ichimoku cloud. I generally just use the basic setting that they give me. I don't like to change setting just to fit my bias. So I generally use the usual setting that they give me, which is going to be the 9, 26, 52, and 26. Lagging span, again, I don't really use. But the key thing here is you can see that you're at a bullish cross of the Tenkan over the Kijun, leading line crossing over the lagging line. So there's been a very, very strong bull trend over the last year and a half, and it's been confirmed over here. Price initially got a little bit rejected for the total market cap of cryptocurrency at the Ichimoku cloud over here for the month of December, actually November here too. November, December, and January got rejected. February, what did we do? Bullish cross, beast mode, went back above. Right? And then right now it's just kind of got a little bit too beasty, I guess. You're forming a little bit of a bull flag over here above the Ichimoku cloud. Didn't really quite backtest some of these things over here. This is how strong the cryptocurrency market cap is currently doing. Now, if you look at the total 2, which is going to be the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, you're going to see that is weaker. Everything else is really lagging behind Bitcoin. You're going to see that regardless, though, around February, you did have a beast mode push above the cloud, and it's been kind of backtesting the cloud. Also, really been backtesting the Tenkan line down here. Also had a bullish cross, right? So the cryptocurrency market cap, even if you take out Bitcoin, has been doing very well. This also includes Ethereum, which Ethereum is a major market cap for the altcoins. So if you also exclude the Ethereum market cap, you can see that, yeah, the rest of them are actually quite lagging. It didn't even quite break above the Ichimoku cloud. It's actually kind of stuck there initially, hit a false break above the cloud, and then got back tested. Some of the taking the Kijun line down here, and still got stuck inside the cloud for the month of May. And it looks like in the month of June, we might potentially have a breakout of the Ichimoku cloud. You did end up having a little bit of a bullish cross over here that just happened for the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that could potentially be, a little bit of a bullish thing for altcoins that could be coming up soon. Now, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, again, if the number's high, then Bitcoin's doing a lot better as opposed to the rest of the cryptocurrency market cap. And if it's low, that means that the rest of the cryptocurrencies are doing relatively well compared to what Bitcoin is doing, right? And you really can see that the Bitcoin dominance ever since September 2022 has been going up and it's been decelerating, right? This bull trend has been really, really starting to get a little bit more exhausted. Look, has a little bit of around the top kind of look into it, slamming right into the top of the Ichimoku cloud, which can serve as resistance. This look right here had a very, very similar look as the last cycle over here, when it slammed to the top of the cloud, it had a little bit of false breakout kind of look, and then finally let's just slam, had a big giant breakdown, and it just broke through underneath the cloud. Right? This big giant slam over here, this is when you're really talking about altcoins really outperforming. This candle was in January of 2021. I just want you to remember that date, January 2021. Right now we're kind of backtesting into the cloud. It's not as drastic as like this big giant thing right there, but we were kind of backtesting it and had a little bit of actually has a little bit of like a tweezer top look to it on the monthly here for Bitcoin dominance. You do have the Tenkan line, the conversion line, kind of serving as support, but I do think that it might be getting to the point where it's starting to get exhausted. Strong resistance above, weak support below, right? Looking at how weak it's getting, it looks like it wants to roll over, right? So that could be potentially favorable if this turns out breaking down the conversion line because it's getting rejected over here at the top of the cloud. Then you're really talking about altcoin seasons potentially really coming in. You look at the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. Now, in this particular chart, if Ethereum does really well over Bitcoin, then you're going to see this chart going up, right? If Bitcoin does better than Ethereum, it's going to go down. So far, you're really seeing a trend where Bitcoin has been outperforming Ethereum. Ethereum has been bleeding against Bitcoin for quite some time, for like a year and a half over here, right? We might be experiencing a little bit of a trend change because the Ethereum over Bitcoin pair has kind of broken above the conversion line so far, right? It's actually potentially might even use the conversion line over here or the Tenkan over here as support for a trend change. We'll see whether or not that happens. All it has to do right now is to span sideways and to break into the Ichimoku cloud. And the green cloud is going to serve, again, what I say, is going to serve as a better support than resistance, right? So all it has to do is just go sideways or maybe even up a little bit and we'll break into the cloud. Got rejected multiple times at the top of the cloud over here. I wonder whether or not green means go. It means go, right? We'll see whether or not that happens. This is a very, very nice tweezer bottom over here that could potentially serve as tailwind for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin potentially moving forward. Now, if you just look at the Bitcoin chart itself, and it looks very similar to total market cap, because majority, about half of the market cap is Bitcoin. So it is currently outperforming most of the altcoins. It's just very, very much far away from the conversion line. Usually I get a little bit worried whenever things get a little bit too far away from the conversion line, because what ends up happening, conversion line generally serves a little bit of a magnet. Sure, if price continues to go up, it's going to drag the conversion line upwards with it. But generally, if it's not able to get ready to go up quite just yet, generally it serves a little bit of a magnet. So for the month of March, you got a little bit too far ahead of the sell. So we have to correct, right? You just can't be too far away from the Tenkan. That's just not a good idea. When that happens, generally things either go sideways or it can potentially go back down, back test some of these things, right? So right now we're a little bit too far ahead of ourselves, and it's it's been cooling down here for about 3 months. I think we might be ready to break out, and I think that the Tenkan is probably going to end up getting dragged up along with it because how strong Bitcoin has been. Like there have been a lot of people really trying to drag Bitcoin price back down to like the 50,000 range down here to the Tenkan line here on a monthly chart, and they've just been really unable to do that. It's just been up here. It's just been really, really strong, right? The Bollinger Band is also essentially expanding right now. It's got a little bit of a sideways consolidation here, so you end up having a little bit of a short-term contraction. But I think these kind of short-term contractions are needed. They generally happen before the Bollinger Band continually expands during these kind of sideways move, right? Kind of like over here, you have a little bit of a Bollinger Band contraction over here before this parabolic move, right? Just like over here, a little bit of Bollinger Band contraction before the next explosive move, right? The very fact that you don't have a Bollinger Band expansion all the way down to the bottom and all the way up, the fact that you don't have the low Bollinger Band like down in the negatives like it has already been in the past, tells you that the euphoria for Bitcoin really hasn't really kicked in. I bet your family or your friends or everybody else, like they're not really talking about Bitcoin all that much. If anything, a lot of people are really scared by Bitcoin right here because of how far it had ran. And a lot of people are talking about triple top, which I think is kind of silly because I think in terms of cycle, and also think that whatever happened over here on the monthly chart over the last 18 and 24 months generally helped erase what had happened, previously in terms of the trend. So I think it's kind of a little bit silly to think that this is going to be a triple top so far away from these double tops over here, because you're always going to have this kind of triple top or double top kind of appearance before it breaks into all-time high. That's always going to look like that. It's not a reason to short, especially when the bull trend is very, very strong over the last 12 to 18 months. But regardless, people do things that I cannot comprehend, so it is what they do. It is what they do. Now, that's Bitcoin. I think it's already corrected enough. And I think that the bullish band initially was just like for the month of March, it was just way far outside of the bullish band. It just had to cool down, cool back down, close inside of the bullish band for 2 months in a row. I think it's ready to go beast mode. When that is going to be, in June, July, I don't know. But I think it might happen soon, either in June or in July. It's going to happen relatively soon. And 20-month moving average is very, very nicely curling up. We look like we're kind of in the equivalent spot as we were over here, and with the cycle before that. I don't want to say we're here because that's just ridiculous. I want to say we're maybe like around here in terms of what we're doing so far, right? So I do anticipate the continued expansion of the Bollinger Band because they did not bring price down that far and accumulate for about 12 months just to stop the bull market here, unless if there is some kind of significant event like the highest rate hike ever, COVID, shut down, the economy stops, any kind of world conflicts or anything like that. I do not think that the whales want to stop here. I think they want to keep it going because they generally want to distribute in a euphoric phase. And the euphoric phase hasn't really quite begun based on looking at the Bollinger Band morphology. But if you look at Ichimoku again, I think Bitcoin so far has been outperforming. Because it's got to look like that, it actually makes me a little bit more worried about Bitcoin compared to everything else. You look at how healthy Ethereum has been. Look at how nice Ethereum has been. Bullish cross over here in February of 2024 with this big giant green candle. Push price above the Ichimoku cloud on the monthly. Back testing the monthly cloud. Back testing the conversion line over here. Couldn't even drag price back down to the bottom of the cloud where the Kijun is. And you had a very nice back test bounce. Had a little bit of a bullish engulfing candle look to it. And right now the price has kind of gone up. I think it's ready to run. I mean, maybe June, maybe July. I don't know. When that happens, I think you might end up getting the January of 2021 type movement over here. You see how nice this big giant green candle over here is? Look at Bitcoin. What happened with Bitcoin in January 2021? It's been running a little bit hard about 3 months before that, right? And for Ethereum, it hasn't really run that hard. I mean, granted, it has run pretty hard, right? But it hasn't really run as hard, right? For some reason, in January 2021, when the risk on sentiment happens, when you're really talking about Bitcoin is really trying to convincingly broke about its previous all-time high, that's when the Ethereum really start to outperform. That's when the big giant green candle over here, whereas Bitcoin, it did go up, but Bitcoin dominance dropped, and there was a lot of rotation from all these funds that people have made. People took profit and tried to pile into Ethereum and try to pump Ethereum, right? That's exactly what happened. So once you get up to that level, you continue to have a very, very nice year of bull run for Ethereum, whereas for Bitcoin, it really start to have a little bit of exhausted top over here. You really start to have a lot of kind of rotation going up to Ethereum and the other altcoins, right? You see how nice this continue to kind of ran for another year or so afterwards. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here with what could potentially happen coming up soon is maybe the month of June would be the way for Ethereum to kind of beast mode here. And this, Bitcoin can also continue to be very, very bullish and break into a price exploration into all-time highs again. But Ethereum, there's a potential for it to outperform. First of all, it's already back tested a lot of things down here. Already have really, really good, solid, good footing. Second of all, I think it's just a part of the cycle where generally, just like stocks, right now I think we might be at a part of the cycle where there might be rotations from large caps over to small caps, and that's kind of what we're seeing here potentially for the cryptocurrency market here as well. Just to kind of look through in terms of what other altcoins are doing. Before I do that, I do want to put the Bollinger Band here again. Very nice expansion of the Bollinger Band. Very nice correction, no longer closing outside the upper Bollinger Band when inside of the upper Bollinger Band for April 2024. Had a very nice engulfing candle over here to push price up higher. Currently, it's probably going to end up just keep going, expand the Bollinger Band, continue to bring it up. Ethereum's looking very, very nice here. I'm going to look at some other things over here instead of looking at the Bollinger Band. I think it's probably nicer to start out by looking at the Ichimoku cloud. Solana, what's Solana doing? It hasn't really been around long enough for this chart to show the Ichimoku cloud quite just yet, but you can see the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud being formed right here, and price is pushed above the Ichimoku cloud over here already. Right. What it did, it had a bullish cross over here in March of 2024, back tested the Tenkan indication line conversion baseline over here, found support. I think it might also be ready to run. This looks like a very, very nice chart, right? In terms of, if you want to look at the Bollinger Band, what is it doing? Very similar morphology to Ethereum. If you want to look at another large cap crypto and try to figure out what it's doing, a little bit underperforming here, both Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is Chainlink. You look at what Chainlink is doing, is actually underneath the Ichimoku cloud still, and it's building up a lot of energy over here. It had a bullish cross over here in March of 2024. Had a little bit of whipsaw over here. It's getting ready to push above the cloud, but it's been an underperformer. Just because it's been underperforming doesn't mean that it won't outperform Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other things. Just because that's generally how it goes, right? I already showed you the total of 3. It's been underperforming, right? But again, I'm going to go back here. I want to go back to the total 3 here. This excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? What you're seeing here with Bitcoin and Ethereum, again, Bitcoin went up a little bit in January. Ethereum went up a lot in January. What happened in February of 2021 for Ethereum? Did Ethereum go beast mode? No, it actually formed a little bit of, like an inverted hammer candle over here. There's a lot of rotation that came out from Ethereum into other altcoins for March of 2021, right? Very nice push, right? So there's a potential that for the other altcoins like Chainlink that has been lagging, there's a potential for it to kind of slide through the Ichimoku cloud like butter and just kept going. There's a potential for that because that's what it's looking like it's wanting to do. Dogecoin is a little bit of a enigma, if you will. In generally 2021, again, you can see this big giant move upwards, right? When Ethereum went up, Dogecoin really went crazy. It pushed through cloud like it's not even there. I wonder whether or not it's going to happen the same way this time. If Ethereum went beast mode, I wonder whether or not it's going to be beast mode for Dogecoin is just kind of push way up, right? I think there's a possibility that could be the case, but I'm not sure. I mean, I always think that each one cloud is going to serve as a little bit of resistance, but it's just been forming a very nice base over here, the Adam and Eve bottom, just like it did over here, right? And they already have a little bit of back test of the Adam and Eve over here. It didn't really respect the cloud last cycle, so is it going to respect the cloud this cycle? I don't know. But if Ethereum goes beast mode, I think Dogecoin, because of how large cap Dogecoin is compared to all the other cryptocurrencies, Dogecoin also has a potential to really try to push way above in a very, very drastic manner. And another one that also is very, very similar to Dogecoin is SHIB, right? Dogecoin looks a little bit more like Chainlink. It looks a little bit more like Chainlink. Again, this is like the total 3 basket, where it's underperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. But I think whenever Ethereum goes beast mode, Doge is probably going to beast mode at the same time. And I think Link is probably going to beast mode the month after that. And it can potentially catch people off guard, and people would be very surprised in terms of how much money has rotated from Bitcoin to something like Chainlink. Again, SHIB looks a little bit underperforming based on Ichimoku cloud analysis. There's no cloud yet, but it's underneath the Tenkan indication. It's trying to pick about. It's still serving as resistance. I still think that Shiba is going to do fine whenever Doge beast, and it's probably going to push Shiba along with it eventually. There are a couple of altcoins that are way outperforming right now. I'm going to kind of drag them a little bit higher here to kind of highlight them. There are several that are really doing very, very well. One is Randar. Randar has already made an all-time high and is already pushed way up here and is already back testing taking kitchen over here. It's looking better than Bitcoin. There's another one over here, which is Fetch AI, already pushed to get into all-time high over here. Back tested, taken in kitchen, found very good support. Looks like it's ready for the next look up over here. Again, looking better than Bitcoin. And then there's also another one that hasn't really looked quite as good as Bitcoin compared to is previous all-time high over here around 35 cents. But just because it went from 35 cents all the way down to like something ridiculous, like 0.002 cents, something ridiculous. Like, anyway, it's really been catching in a big way during this correction, sideways correction for Bitcoin, and sideways correction for Ethereum, and sideways correction for Solana, sideways correction for Chainlink, sideways correction for Doge. Jasmine doesn't care. It already had broken out of this range and it's making some pretty highs over here. It might be hitting some resistance zone over here pretty soon, right? But looks like it's building up a lot of energy, really trying to push back up. Probably end up having to bull flag here a little bit further before pushing up further. But there are some that are outperforming here. There are some older coins that are lagging behind, which would include, ADA, which is your Cardano. But Cardano looks very, very similar to the last cycle here too. You have the Adam and Eve pattern, back testing Adam and Eve pattern, back testing Adam and Eve pattern, right? Very, very similar look to it. Already back tested it twice over here, back tested it twice over here. You are about to get a positive, Tengen Kijun bullish cross over here, have a bullish Tengen Kijun cross over here. Very similar cycle in terms of where the location is located at. Again, you look in January, when things went beast mode, Cardano benefited, but it really benefited around February, right? Again, February, what did Ethereum do? February, Ethereum did jack squat, right? What did Cardano do February? Whew. Like, it's just one of those rotation, like, if the market cap is a lot smaller than Ethereum, Bitcoin, it doesn't really take a whole lot of funds to kind of push Cardano up. But this move over here has really exhausted the whole bull trend. So there's a potential where if we end up having Ethereum beasting, you're going to get a very nice green candle, and the candle after that, whenever it tries to rotate into other altcoins, you could have something that end up getting right at the resistance over here at the cloud, which is like $1.55, or it could end up just pushing through the cloud like it's not even there to get to some of the higher targets like $2 or $3, depending on how things go. There is that possibility. Right. Another one that's an older coin that has been really severely underperforming is Medic. Medic looks sick. Medic looks sad. It's been forming a very, very nice base up here. I do think that this whole thing right here is reaccumulation. There's the bottom of the cloud over here is starting to be formed for Medic. Hasn't really been quite formed yet, but looks like it's underneath of the monthly cloud. Looks like you have potentially the Tengen Kijun cross here happening relatively soon, right? If you look at the Bollinger Band, it's looking like it's squeezing, like it's significantly squeezing, like something big is going to happen. But currently prices underneath the median, currently prices underneath the 20-month moving average, which is not favorable for it. Do I think that it's going to end up pushing above whenever Ethereum end up pushing beast mode, whenever gas fee turns out to be like high again? Everybody's complaining about gas fee being super high. Guess what happened when that happens, right? Medic went beast mode. Guess what happened around before Ethereum really started to go up? Medic did absolutely nothing, just went sideways for months and months and months, for like a year and a half over here, right? Went sideways over here for about 2 years, did absolutely nothing, right? Ethereum went up, Medic went up, right? This is an initial kick to kind of push things up above, right? What happened after that? In February, Ethereum did jack squat, right? Did nothing. Look at Medic, beast mode. Bam, 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 right? 5 candles right here, about the 6 candle over here above the upper Bollinger Band. We could be getting a very, very similar setup over here, depending on what Ethereum does. This is a major laggard though. Like, there's nothing technically to say that you're going to have a reversal in trend. There's nothing to tell you over here that's going to happen. Nothing. Okay, I just want to let you know, nothing. Based on the Ichimoku cloud, nothing. Right? But based on the fact that the layer 2s for Ethereum most likely going to end up doing very well if Ethereum does well, and based on the timing of how it did last cycle, I do wonder whether or not Meta could potentially catch up in a big way later on in the cycle. No guarantees, right? Some of my other favorites, I have Cody, very similar. Have like Adam and Eve bottom. You have Cortasi, very similar. Double bottom back test. All of these look very, very similar. You look at a couple other ones like Near, it actually looks really, really nice. This looks kind of like Chainlink. It's not quite at the highs. It's somewhere down, in the middle over here. It's underneath the Ichimoku cloud up here, so it's squeezing between Tank and Kitchen. But Near protocol looks pretty nice. Graph looks pretty nice. Looks like it's kind of had a bullish crossover here. It's going to potentially go up. Again, I'm just showing you. I think altcoin season is going to happen pretty soon. Next bar, another popular one from last cycle. Looks like it had a bullish crossover here. Looks like potentially end up having some pretty big giant move over here if Ethereum ends up doing well and end up rotating into Ethereum from Bitcoin for a month. The month after that, looks like HBAR could potentially do pretty well. You look at some of the other layer ones, for example, look at Avalanche, AVAX, look at very, very similar look to it, right? You have a major underperforming here on Outrun, or now it's known as Multiverse X, EGLD, underperforming over here, right? But again, if Ethereum goes up higher, the narrative is going to shift into, hey, gas fee is so expensive, let's try other L2s. So you're going to have things like Solana. Solana's doing extremely well, by the way. Fundamentals actually doing pretty well too. But AVAX, and then you also have something that's a little bit of a laggard, which is the Multiverse X. So all of these are probably going to end up doing pretty well. I do have a couple of other, really, really tiny cap, not tiny cap, but small cap altcoins that I do have a small position in. Something like, Soku is available on Coinbase. The market cap is like $20 million. So it doesn't really take a whole lot to pump it. Can you imagine if Bitcoin rotates in Ethereum, Ethereum rotates in altcoins, and altcoins rotated into these almost like a micro cap kind of thing? Can you imagine how high I could potentially pump something like this, right? Boba, another one, also a very, very small market cap, $57 million, right? And then you also have something like, this is a layer 2. You also have something like Inverse Finance, very super tiny market cap, right? So you can imagine and a beast moding, it could go up by a lot. A couple other coins that other people like a lot, like layer 2s of Ethereum, probably also going to do pretty well. I do think that Matic may be a little bit of an older coin. The big move already happened, and there's just a lot of consolidation over here. Some of the hotter ones are Optimism, OP, looking very, very nice, just been making higher highs and higher lows, just been consolidating. It's not really, looking bad at all. Another coin that looks very, very nice is Injective. Like basically just already tested its previous all-time high. It looks like it's just ready to run. So the bottom line though is I think overall these coins are going to do very, very well if what I think is going to happen is going to happen. And it could happen relatively quick within a matter of about 2 or 3 months, and it could catch a lot of people off guard. And it is just the way it always is. I don't see why, when you have something bullish like the total market cap for cryptocurrency looking so nice, when you exclude Bitcoin, it looks very, very nice because it's backtesting some very important support and found support. Looks like it's ready to go a lot higher. Same thing with the total. If you take away Ethereum and you take away Bitcoin, it looks very, very nice, right? So I don't know why there is actually relative low interest in cryptocurrencies in Bitcoin and Ethereum, even though they've already gone up a lot from its bottom. I do not know why. I guess that's just kind of how it always goes. And people are probably not going to hear about it until they think they're just going to start making money from it, but by then they will already be exit liquidity coming up next. Or they might end up making a bunch of money towards the end and they just got really euphoric and just end up being exit liquidity. I don't know. But anyway, I've been talking a little bit too long. Thank you so much for listening to me talking about what I think is going to happen with altcoins. Have a good one. Bye.